Hi, I'm Amy Stoneham. I'm the editor of Hidden Wires, and I'm joined today by Peter Gibb, the business development for custom install at Lenbrook. Hi, Peter. How are you?
Hi, Amy. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
Good. Yes, good. Thank you.
Good.
We're going to talk about some of the NAD rack-mounted multi-room solutions today. NAD offer a variety of rack mount solutions for a full multi-room setup. What are the advantages of having a multi-room solution in a rack as opposed to not being rack mounted?
Yeah, I mean, there's obviously benefits to doing it that way in terms of locating everything in a central location. Keeps it all out of the way and keeps it hidden if you don't want to see players dotted around the rooms and things like that. And also if if you've already wired for that, of course, it means it's easy to replace out and swap out. You're close to the network and the router and everything. So, if you want a really reliable streaming system, having it all hardwired in at the network switch is the best way to do that without any Wi-Fi dropouts. And it's not always the case that you've necessarily got an Ethernet connection to every zone. So, so putting it all in there is, just efficient. So,
yeah. Okay. So can you tell us a little bit about the CI580 preamp streamer? What its benefit or what its features are, how does it differ to others on the market?
Yeah, so the CI580 is a 4-zone network streamer. So it takes up one U in the rack, which is quite space saving. Normally the alternative would be to use maybe 4 separate units, which would probably take up about twice the space in a rack. It's kind of the equivalent of 4 of our sister brand Blue Sounds nodes. So it's kind of doing that job. So obviously there's a space and cost saving with reducing the amount of equipment you've got in the rack and the amount of cabling. It's only one network point, one power cable. So that's, again, a very efficient way of doing it. And the fact that it's BlueOS enabled means it brings a whole lot to the table in terms of features. We've got AirPlay 2, Spotify Connect, Tidal Connect. It's a Roon endpoint. Well, it's 4 Roon endpoints, of course, because it's one per every zone. And, it supports MQA and high-res audio. So the quality is fantastic, which is, improves the experience for the end user. We've got 4 stereo RCA outputs, or you can take 4 digital outputs, and we have an analog digital input if you want to add a source on there that can be shared across the 4 zones. It's got contact closures. If you want to hook it up to a doorbell, we can play a chime with a system interrupt, and we've got 12-volt trigger output for switching your amp on. So it's it's just a really feature-rich but very cost-effective way as well. I think it surprises people. It's not super expensive considering the the quality and the functionality that it has.
So there's a lot of benefits there for end users and integrators as well with the install side. Okay. And what about the CI720 V2? It's a single stereo amplified BlueOS player, which is also rack mounted. Why is it designed for a central rack? What are the benefits for that? And what are some of its most important features?
Yeah, again, it's efficiency. For us, it's all about giving the installer choice in terms of how they design their system. So sometimes you want to take a preamp into a power amp, and that can allow you to tailor the amplification. If you've got larger rooms or low impedance speakers or long cable runs, you might want to go with a more powerful amp. So the CI580 gives the flexibility to do that. But if your preference is to have that sort of single zone redundancy where you have one complete stereo unit per zone and run the wiring from there, again, this is a really space-saving way of doing it. We can get 6 zones into a 3U rack space, which, again, if you were using something like a power node, it would take up twice the space. So it's a much more cost-effective way of doing it. It's more efficient. It's also, they're thermostatically cooled, so they're designed to be in a rack. In the long term, so if you've got lots of other equipment giving off heat, they'll draw in the cool air from the front vent and push it out through the back. So it increases the longevity of the product, whereas most consumer products that you would sit in a rack tend to be passively cooled because they're really not designed for that environment. So and again, in terms of connectivity, it gives you a little bit extra in terms of if you've got lots of external sources such as TVs and they're coming into the rack through a matrix, whereas you're sharing 2 inputs across the 580. Every 720 has a digital and an analog input, and the other advantage there is every one of them's got a sub out as well. So if you're doing a sort of 2.1 system in a room with a TV, You can wire it out to your in-ceiling speakers. You can run a sub out. It can also pair up with a Bluesound Pulse wireless sub as well. So that's quite a neat feature for that product if you're running a little media room system or something.
Yeah.
It's 60 watts per channel, but it's really good quality NAD hybrid digital amplification. So it's, you know, it'll be enough for most kind of small and medium sized rooms. Yeah.
Okay, excellent. How do they both work together with other NAD rack mounted equipment to create that whole multi-room solution for users?
So that, you know, it's part of the beauty of BlueOS is that, you know, all of the products are completely interoperable. So we obviously developed the BlueOS multi-room platform at Lenbrook, and you know, what you can do is you can have your rack mount equipment. You can choose any product from any of the BlueOS supported brands such as Bluesound. We've now got PSB products, which is our in-house speaker brand, and we have some third-party brands who also use the BlueOS platform, and all of the products are completely interoperable. So, you know, the beauty of it is you can really tailor the system to what to the project or the specific property on a room-by-room basis. So rather than just having, you know, the same power or the same amplification, the same quality and connectivity in every single room, what you can do is you can create the backbone of the multi-room system from the rack. But then if you've got a room where you want to put a sound bar, you can use a Bluesound product. If you've got a room where it just needs a wireless speaker, if you've got a room where the client wants to have a proper hi-fi, they can put in an NAD product, which is BlueOS enabled as well, and you'll get, you know, you might get more power. You might get room correction if you need that in a zone as well. Better quality amplification. We do a full range of you know, price points and performance levels through NAD as well, and some of our partner brands. So, you know, you've just got this incredible flexibility to, you know, to satisfy every need within a project, really.
Yeah.
I don't know that there's too many other brands can offer that, and the fact that it all works on BlueOS means it's the same integration drivers. It's the same interface if you're using the app. They've all got AirPlay, they've all got Spotify Connect and everything there. So it's you know, it's simpler to put that system together rather than use multiple brands and multiple drivers when you're programming it all with a control system. So
yeah, I think that's such an important point, having that interoperability and everything working together on the same platform. And yeah, it makes sense, doesn't it? Yeah. So what are some of the different use cases with the different products?
Yeah, so we see the products, the 580 and the 720, it can depend on the type of installation, the size of the installation, you know, the integration with control systems and things like that. But what we tend to see is the 580 is used where typically on its own with the BlueOS app, it's a really handy way of just doing sort of 4 or 8 zones through an amplifier. Or if you're running it through a control system, it's useful for running into a matrix. If you've got lots of sort of off-board other audio sources there. And the CI720, again, as a standalone system without any integration, works quite well. And, you know, there's a lot of dealers out there using just stereo amplified products in a rack. So this is a much more efficient way of doing that. And because you've got the dedicated inputs on maybe a slightly smaller system where you've got some external sources, you can pop them in there, and again you can use it with a control system as well on a larger system too. So, but again, it's all about the flexibility and choice, and you know, some integrators like to do everything through a matrix, and some prefer to just have sort of standalone systems. So yeah, that's what it's about.
Thank you so much, Peter. That was really, really good. And yeah, thank you very much for joining us.
Thanks a lot, Amy.
Thank you.
Thanks, bye.